guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devon.
And I'm Joe.
And this is a show where we talk about...
Nope. Taylor Swift dropped a new album again. Again.
I know
again.
this.
Evermore. We have to go through this again. This is another emergency episode. We did not plan to pull one out tonight, but we have to talk about it. We have no time for pleasantries. We have to talk about this immediately.
Let's discuss.
Okay, so I think, was I asleep this time or were you asleep this time or were both of us asleep this time?
So I had slept in accidentally. I woke up late this morning and I had gotten a text from another Taylor Swift friend of mine, not even you. And I had texted you. So you were technically asleep, but I was busy running around trying to get ready for work. So both of us were not on our game this morning.
I to be fair, I'm never on my game when Taylor Swift releases an album, apparently. I just can't. I still can't get over it.
Remember when we were like, oh, this is gonna be her last album for a while, Folklore, because she's re-recording her albums?
I think I want to say, I tried to find it, but I think earlier when we were talking about 8, Folklore, I was like, in one of the earlier episodes, I was like, yeah, what if she just releases another one really soon? I don't have any proof that I said that, but for some reason I feel like I did. As a joke, I did not mean for that to come true. So apparently I have to watch what I say or say a lot more things, because at this point, how bad is this? This isn't too bad.
Putting it out into the world. T Swift.
We did. So I also listened to the first episode we did when we did this episode for Folklore. And I will say our reaction in the morning of Folklore was significantly different than our reaction this morning for Evermore.
I was already stressed out this morning because I was running late. And then all I was thinking, instead of, oh my gosh, we're getting a new album, this is so exciting, I was just like, does she sleep? Now I gotta go to work and I'm gonna be busy at work and I gotta figure out how we're gonna promote this and what we're gonna do. And it was just very stressful. I will admit, I was a lot more stressed out about this release than I was with Folklore.
I mean, to be completely honest with the audience, we were like, wow, having this podcast makes us less excited for this new stuff, just because we had a whole meeting to discuss the rest of the year content that we were going to do. And we made some of it flex.
We had it planned out.
We had a whole thing planned out. And we knew there was going to be some news in there. So we're like, this episode can get moved, put an asterisk here, but this one should stay here, blah, blah, blah. And all of that's gone now. Again, that's the second time.
Just when I thought Taylor Swift could not surprise me even more, she just does it again.
I think
no regard.
I think we should be careful and just never plan anything for this show ever again, because the second we do, T Swift 10 is going to be here.
We were doing so good.
We haven't even finished our Folklore song breakdowns. We have so much to do, but we should talk about this Evermore thing that everyone's talking about. So
she posted a lot today.
She posted an essay and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So Devon, what did she post today?
All right, so she posted 3 different things on Twitter that are just novels in themselves, but we're going to point out the few things in each post that we want to highlight. So the first thing that she posted was, she says, I'm elated to tell you that my 9th studio album and Folklore's sister record will be out tonight at midnight Eastern. It's called Evermore. So then she goes on to say, to put it plainly, we couldn't stop writing songs, which is crazy to me. They just kept going. How many songs are there that we just don't know about that she wrote for this era?
Millions. Actual millions.
And then she talks about, she says, putting it plainly and then putting it poetically, which I think is a really big theme for this era. Is just poeticism. I don't know if that's a word, but just poetic nature. And they're standing at the edge of folklorian woods, and they had a choice to turn and go back or to travel further into the forest of music, and they chose to wander in deeper. She says,
folklorian is a word, poeticism is a word. Okay.
She talks about escapism again. She talks about that these tales are imaginary and non-imaginary, which again kind of draws back to folklore with things that are true, things that are just made up in her head. She's been writing these songs with Aaron Dessner, Jack Antonoff, WB, aka William Bowery, and Justin Vernon. There's some new features that we'll talk about a little bit later. Then the second post she talks about is she goes on to say, ever since I was 13, I've been excited about turning 31 because it's my lucky number backwards, which I don't know how we didn't catch that she was turning 31 this year, and that's the inverse of
Well, that's
13.
because I incorrectly said that she was turning 33 this year,
And
and
someone
that,
called you out on it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
So she's giving us a birthday surprise. She goes on to say that there's 15 tracks on the standard edition, and then the deluxe physical edition will include 2 bonus tracks, Right Where You Left Me and It's Time to Go.
It's interesting. So, like she said, this is her birthday. Yeah, like you said, this is our birthday present to us because we've been so good to her for her birthday. I've given her nothing over the years except love and undying love and gratification,
Which is a
but that's
lot.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money actually. I've done
Yeah.
that too. Yeah. So it's interesting. She says the physical edition will have the 2 bonus tracks, but the physical edition is not available to pre-order currently. So when she dropped Folklore, she put out 8 different versions of the album,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just the one digital this time.
The digital version will have photos
16
that
photos,
16
yeah.
photos that come with it,
Yeah.
which will be all over Instagram, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. We might even steal them for our backgrounds here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. Like I immediately grabbed my wallet and tried to reassure it, but like it was like, yeah, dude, you have nothing to worry about. You can't buy anything. You can buy a digital copy, and I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's nothing for me to spend money on, which is great.
Mm-hmm. You
Thank
know
God.
her store is gonna blow up at
Oh,
midnight.
it's gonna blow up in the next days, and I'm excited for next September to get my stuff that I order.
Have you gotten all the stuff from Folklore?
I have gotten all the stuff from
Okay.
Folklore. The last thing is I did order the cardigan sweater key or ornament, Christmas ornament, and that
Okay.
just shipped today.
Okay.
So weirdly enough, the 2 new bonus tracks is also interesting. They are on the same release schedule as Folklore, so we are getting these 2 extra tracks like the Lakes was, which is interesting because how she mentioned that in the Long Pond studio session that she wanted Hoax to be the perfect end cap for this album, but she also loved Lakes as the perfect end cap for this album. So I wonder if that's the reason that
Mm-hmm.
we're getting these extra 2, or if
Alternate endings, maybe.
alternate endings, yeah, like something along those lines. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is gonna be a lot of speculation this episode. Buckle up.
Yes. And then the third post, she talks about tonight the story continues, stress on the word continues, as the music video for Willow drops at midnight Eastern. And then she goes on to credit all of these people who worked on her team, which of course she does. She's a wonderful woman.
Yeah, I love that she does that because you really don't see that from a lot of people, but she really makes a point to. We're getting the exact same release schedule as Folklore. Like I said, like she
With
is keeping
Cardigan.
this. This is a sequel, true and true. It's not a fresh new album, same kind of aesthetic. And with Cardigan, yeah, except the only difference is Willow is the first track on the item, Cardigan was the second. So that
Mm-hmm.
is a mild difference, still really close. But yeah, Midnight, we get a new album or a new music video and an album just to go with it, because why not?
So that is everything she has said. So let us discuss. I see here you have the definition of Evermore because, as
I thought it was
Webster
funny.
Dictionary says,
No, it's funny because last time we did the definition of folklore, I don't think we really need the full definition of Evermore, but
mm-hmm.
Taylor has, if anything, shown us over the last couple of months slash year that words are just ever increasingly becoming more and more important to her. So I think it's not crazy to overanalyze the words that she uses and picks. So I think Evermore is a very interesting word
Mm-hmm.
for this album. It's originated in 1300, which is a long time ago, as an old English word. It means at one time it means at all times, all the time, forever and eternally, which is really interesting to me because that's like a very like love, marriage kind of
It's
thing.
such a poetic word.
Very poetic word. It sounds like, I mean, well, we have Nevermore
Mm-hmm.
is like the most poetic word in the world. But yeah, Evermore just, it feels like mid like old English, sitting in a cottage, you would say that word. It's interesting to note, this is a random random thing that I came up with. It was originally written as 2 words before 1300. It was always it's so the concept of Evermore has always existed, but it was always spelled out ever space more. Then in 1300, those 2 words became one. Taylor Swift engagement confirmed.
It's confirmed. The theories.
But interestingly, the UK traditional spelling of forevermore, which is also a word that came later, is actually spaced to be forevermore, which Taylor obviously deep in UK stuff right now. But
Mhm.
I think it's interesting because as soon as we heard that, I messaged you, oh my gosh, isn't that in like a couple of songs? And you were like, well, forevermore is in a couple of songs, but not evermore. And I was like, okay, calm down. But technically, if we go by the British spelling, they are separate words. So songs like Welcome to New York, New Year's Day, a lot of new songs.
Interesting.
Feature that way. So Welcome to New York, I could dance this beat forevermore. New Year's Day, you know the lyrics on this one. I
You
don't
and
know.
me forevermore,
You and me forevermore. Yeah.
which is also
So
a poetic-esque line.
oh my gosh, yeah. Actually I think it's interesting because you do get like I could dance to this beat forevermore is like a bop line,
Hmm.
and then New Year's Day is the poetic line. So in my like a lot of the speculation that we've been talking about and we'll go into is we do think this is going to be a more upbeat album, a more boppy album. So the fact that I like that the 2 other times she's used this word is bop and poetic coming
Hmm.
together as one, I think is going to be an interesting thing for this. This is, like we said, the sequel to Folklore. Me
The
and Devon
sister
float
album.
the sister album. We've floated a couple of sequel titles for this album. We threw up a poll on Instagram, and it ended up coming back Folklore: A Tale of Two Kitties, um,
Or
which I'm
three
really proud of.
kitties.
Tale of Three Kitties, actually, at this point, that's gonna be the trilogy.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Um, so yeah, tell me more about this album. Tell me more about the sister album aspect
Well,
of it.
so you brought up a really good point earlier when we talked about how this is the sister album to Folklore, but all of the promotions for this album are in screaming color, quote unquote. And we talked about how the Long Pond sessions, everything was this beautiful, vibrant color. And that's exactly the promotion for this album. So is this Folklore's extroverted, bubbly folk sister? Could it be a more optimistic parallel? We don't know. I'm hoping
I
so.
I think that's so funny too because like I remember when we were watching Folklore, the Long Pond studio sessions together, we were like, it's so weird. Why, like this era is not this bright, beautiful,
Hmm.
and like you. It looked like it wasn't even real. Like it looked like she put a filter on it even further to further accentuate the colors. So we were like, why is it so
Yeah.
colorful? And this really explains it. Like this could be, yeah, just like the next chapter. Like slowly, colors are coming together from this dark place
Well,
to a
that's
hopefully a happier place.
that's what I'm curious about in terms of, was folklore the beginning of this pandemic when everything was very dark and dreary, and now Evermore is, you're kind of seeing the end of the tunnel and there's a little bit of light there, and who knows, maybe this is more optimistic.
You can put a lot of emphasis on that little bit of light.
Just the tiny, tiniest
Just
bit,
a tiny little
a
bit, but
flicker.
it's hopefully there. So this album again has 17 songs total, 15 on the regular, but 17 total, which is
Hmm.
insane. Like that's the thing is like we surprise album, we were like shocked that it had 17. Second surprise album, we're like, all right, it's got to be like 10. There's no way she wrote 34 songs. But I mean, obviously, there's every way she wrote 34 songs. I'm sure she wrote 50 and had to trim it down. So, but as we did before on the last reaction, Taylor Swift averaged 14 songs a record. So this is still above average. It might have gone up a little bit from, I don't have folklore in there now, but it's
Hmm.
still right around average of 17. And it's also interesting to note this is the third album in a row from Taylor with 17 tracks.
Yeah, that's insane.
The one thing I will say is that, like we said, the standard edition has 15 tracks. We have 2 bonus tracks up from the one on Folklore. And we noted before, we kind of had like a lull where there were no bonus tracks ever on Reputation and Lover. So are we like slowly going back in the other direction? Are we starting to get more bonus
Yeah,
tracks?
I hope so. I mean, especially with
Me
these
too.
re-records coming out, I hope that bonus tracks continue to stay in her arsenal.
They have to. They really do. But I'm excited for that. That's a cool trend to see, like the graph going up on the bonus track scale.
So let's talk about the fact that this is her second album in a year. This is the first time
This
two
is her.
albums in 4 months.
This is her third album in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so many.
She's coming
Lord,
after
what are you
Ariana's.
doing? Like my friend texted me when I texted her all this stuff, because everyone I texted who's like not as big a Swiftie as me was like, "Oh, that's funny. Didn't you, like you're just joking?" And I'm like, "No, I'm
Mm-mm.
serious." And she texted back. She was like, "Yeah, at least Lord gives me enough time to process her album before she drops another one." Uh, we
She's
just
just insane.
we get that. It's
Mm-hmm.
so crazy. 2 albums in a year.
Yep. All right. Do you want to get into some Easter eggs? Because I don't know. I mean, she trickled some stuff in, and I don't know how we didn't think of it. I think it was we
Well,
just
because
thought it was never possible. No.
who in their right mind looks at, like, the only thing I could say, the most egregious thing was, we just did not take it too far, was when she posted not a lot going on at the moment again, and we were like, what could it be? It
Well, no,
can't be
because
another album.
that was before the Long Pond studio
Yeah,
sessions,
we
right?
thought it was that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, but
She
like,
tricked us.
I guess not a lot going on at the moment. If she ever tweets that again,
It's an
it's a new
album.
album. It is
Mm-hmm.
synonymous with new album. There is no other meaning they can have. And if she does do that, then, and she doesn't put out a new album, it's a tease and it's not okay.
Yes. So a
She
couple
set a
different
precedent.
Easter eggs. Way back in May 7th, she posted something on Instagram, a picture with her chilling out in a sweater with daisies, holding a wine glass and saying big isolation with wine glass emoji and snake emoji. And people think this might have to deal with the song that we're going to speak about a little bit later, Champagne Problems, because that is the same name of the song as Katy Perry. Katy Perry's daughter's name is Daisy. Just the parallels between these two things, but that's kind of a stretch. Then we get into the infamous Not a Lot Going On at the Moment part 2 on November 22nd. Like we said, this was before the Long Pond studio session, so that's what we thought this post was directed at. Obviously not. If you look in the photo, there's a picture of a willow tree and an ivy like framed behind her that you see, and people were like, that's interesting, but now it makes
Who knew?
sense. This craziness that pops up. So she quote tweeted a Rolling Stones article on December 4th, and it was basically just talking about, I think, their favorite albums of the year. And so she replies in like in the little, what's the star things called?
Asterisks.
They are asterisks? Okay. So she responds, cries in cottagecore, screams in soft lullabies, which we thought stolen lullabies potentially. Okay. Throws self into a base of a willow tree by a reflection pool at midnight. And no one questioned what the hell she meant. But willow tree, Willow is the, first single coming out. So the base of a willow tree by a reflection pool, that might be a lyric. At midnight, midnight is when it's released. That's crazy to me. We go
That's
further.
gotta be the chorus though. Like, right? Like that's gotta be the chorus of Willow.
Thrown into the base of a willow tree by a reflection pool.
Maybe. I don't know. I continue. Go ahead.
Then we go into the Entertainment Weekly covers, and she has one picture of her with a horse, and she's wearing this cool, like, Western-esque outfit, like glamour Western, and could be about the song Cowboy Like Me. Again, just a small little thing. Speaking of Entertainment Weekly, she posted 3 of the cover photos on her Instagram story, and she goes, "'Tis the damn season," which we posted on ours, like, yeah, 'tis the damn season, it's
Yeah.
Christmas. Meanwhile, it's a song, and we didn't
Yep.
even know it.
Yep.
She's
Yep.
sneaky. She's so sneaky. And then the piece de resistance, she tweets yesterday on December 9th, "Over here in Folklore Land, we feel great about it. Thanks at LA Times." And then 9 different tree emojis. And we
I
just thought, what does that mean? What does 9
how
trees mean?
how have we not learned? How have we not learned?
It was way too outrageous to even think
That's
of.
the thing. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's what she is so happy about, is like she she's so proud that she got us once, and like she knew that there was no way we would ever think she would do it again, and of course she just up and does it again.
Yeah, then not a lot of people do. I'm assuming it was her, Jack, Aaron, Joe, and then Stella McCartney who styled her. These are like 5 people that are just sitting back watching everyone freak out about folklore and go, they have no idea what's coming in 4 months.
I was just like, could you imagine all of those interviews she did for the Long Pond studio sessions
Mhm.
where they're like playing this album together? Do you think there's going to be a second one
That's
where they already did
potentially.
it?
Mhm.
Like,
Did they record it at the same time?
why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Like, but like, imagine like they're sitting here like, I'm so curious to go back now and rewatch it after we listen to this album, because there's got to be stuff in
Mhm.
there
There
about
has to
this.
be.
The one they had to have either slipped or like Taylor just cheekily mentioning it, like, and just being
I'm
like, I know
sure.
what this is, and they might like get a smile from Jack of like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. They don't though. So that's
I love
awesome.
that. I love that Twitter post also says folklore land, because that introduces the concept of this world of folklore, this whole era that spans further than just one album.
The theme park of broken hearts.
Exactly. And in true Taylor fashion, there were 16 songs on the standard edition of Folklore, 15 on Evermore. What does that add up to? 31.
Yep. That's a good one too. I like that. That could be a reason why there were 2 bonus tracks. I would put it past her.
Yes.
But the next thing, I think the most interesting that I'm really excited about is, I don't understand your notes here, but is this a trilogy?
So people all over Twitter have been speculating that this could potentially be a trilogy. This is the second part. Who knows? I know someone had taken a screen grab of the 3 cardigan colors she released and noted that the white one is the only one that says folklore on it. And that there's like this pinkish one that could be this album because it's similar imagery.
And then
the green, like the
green gray.
Isn't it like a green gray? Yeah. I think it's more gray.
It's gray, but like the highlights are green. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? Potentially that could be it. You noted here that it could be March 1st, aka 3/1.
Which would be interesting because that's 3 months away. That's not like this was less than 5 months away. So it's still, it'd be a very even quicker turnaround. But geez, I don't know how I feel about that. Like that's so much.
I know. If there's a third album, I'm jumping.
After I listen to it, I'm jumping.
Listening while jumping. Skydiving.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be songs to jump to. So Devon, let's dive in. We did get another track listing right off the bat.
Yeah.
So we know every track
us.
is going to be on it. She feeds us.
She continues to just keep us fed in 2020.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. We do everything in lowercase again, which is starting to get really infuriating for me.
Autocorrect is not like that.
I don't know what happened. Like, what happened in music that it feels like everyone's releasing lowercase track titles now?
I like it. It's cute. It's like an aesthetic thing.
It's an aesthetic. Yeah, I can see that. I can't wait for the next Capitol album she has. I do think it's interesting too. Like, I just thought of this off the fly, but like, it's interesting that like this album is lowercase, like she's whispering. Like this is a quiet album. This is a low key album. This isn't something she's screaming. This isn't like this giant thing. She has no fanfare about it. So it's just very low case and just right there. Just lowercase. Doesn't matter.
Just going to leave this album here.
Oh, yeah. You do whatever you want with it, but just there it is.
All right. So 17 songs. Let's get into them.
All right. So number 1, we have Willow, the one with the music video, title track, or not title track, but first track on the album. One interesting fact. Willows are my favorite tree.
I also love a good willow tree. I saw that and just like weeping willow trees, love them.
I've always said I wanted like to have a weeping willow tree on my property when I buy a house in 2067.
Over a nice little lake.
Over a nice little lake or pond or a long pond. Who knows? Could be anything. So yeah, I definitely love that. I've liked that we both actually love a willow tree. This, like we said, this is the cardigan of the album, but it's at track 1. I do wonder, how is this intro going to be different than the one? The one thing
I'm doing better. I'm on some better stuff.
Everything got worse. Well, that's the thing that's interesting. So what's funny is, like we said, the colorization and the style around this makes us think this could be a more upbeat album.
Mm-hmm.
But the names of the titles and the themes around some of the songs still skew in the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So a weeping willow tree is genuinely a pretty sad sight, a pretty somber sight. The one thing that's very interesting is in literature, a willow tree symbolizes the moon, water, grief, healing, and everlasting life. I think healing is a big one there,
Mm-hmm.
especially with everything going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Water, obviously, because it's next to a lake, lakes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's interesting. But like, I've never heard of a weeping willow tree and go, wow, happy. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm real happy. But one started off really boppy and positive,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of the album made you want to die. So I'm wondering if this is going to be the complete inverse of Willow is going to start on a low note, like a really
Mm-hmm.
sad, somber opening, and then open up into this beautiful big number boppiness
Yeah.
in the rest of the album.
And then we also have that potential lyric, the base of a willow tree by a reflection pool,
Mm-hmm.
potentially. So we'll see about that. Then we go into number 2, champagne problems. I just think of Drake when I hear this. I don't know why, but
I can't think
just like champagne poppy.
I don't know how I feel about this one. Like, this one has
Mm-hmm.
been the most innocuous track for me. I
Yeah.
haven't paid much attention to it. Someone mentioned that it could be potentially, like we said, about Katy Perry's Baby. I do like the similarity to the line from Invisible String, another axe to grind.
Mm-hmm.
Now she sends her baby's presents, sending Katy Perry's Baby's presents again. She, like we said, with the Instagram post that she made with the champagne and the daisy pattern shirt.
But the implications about champagne problems.
That's alcoholism,
Oh, very true. Yep.
and this is me trying about addiction. That could be a
Mm.
continuation of that, but it could, like, there's so many things that could mean, like champagne problems. Like, champagne is a great thing. Like, it usually, you only break out the champagne when you're celebrating something, when something's great. Problems are not great. They're generally something you want to avoid. So I think it's interesting, like, champagne problems, what could that be? You could have too much of a good thing
Mm.
leads to something bad. It could be too much celebration overshadows something else. Like, if you're happy for, or you
You're
should be
gloating.
happy, you should be happy all the time, but inside you're not.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of things you can glean from that juxtaposition. It's like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Like, there shouldn't be champagne problems, but I like the idea of what it is. Don't know how that fits into Katy Perry's Baby. Hopefully Katy Perry's Baby is not suffering from alcoholism. But yeah, I don't know how this one, I don't know what to make of this track.
Yes. Then we go into the third one, which I'm pretty sure is going to be Jack Antonoff's August, which is Gold Rush. So he has been posting about it like crazy on Twitter, on Instagram. The line potentially from this song, "What must it like to grow up that beautiful?" which I think is very interesting.
I like
And
that.
then he says Gold Rush forever, and he quotes Gold Rush, but just every letter has 3 letters. It's like Gold Rush. And I really want that to be like how she sings it. Like, I want it to be this elongated, dreamy-esque song.
Stretched word singing. I actually think that'd be really cool. I think, like,
Mm-hmm.
if she does Gold Rush, and like, if in the production it like comes in at your left ear and goes over to your right and goes
Mm-hmm.
out in like the way that the
Like
lyric gets,
panning.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, because like a rush going through you. I think that'd be
Mm-hmm.
a really cool way to, I just thought of that, but I think that'd be a really cool way to do sound and do that in a song. One interesting note about this: Gold Rush took place in 1848-49, well before the time period that we assumed folklore took place in the 1900s.
But she
So
talks about the 1800s in the EW interview.
yeah,
She says she feels like a woman in the 1800s, like a pioneer woman during
so
the gold rush.
and I like the idea of what must it be like to grow up that beautiful. Reminds me of like her story about Rebecca Harkness. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could be just another girl that she decided to fixate on and write a story about. And this could be, I mean,
Taylor Swift fixating on women? No.
oh my God.
Walked into that one.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I do think it's interesting. Like, and we'll get into this later, but like, is the love triangle still in play here? Is there a brand new story? Are there new characters? There are a lot of names in these titles, so like,
Mm-hmm.
I think we could plant a flag on Gold Rush being what's the word, like a story song, rather, or like a part of a story song if we have that trilogy again.
I could see Gold Rush being similar to Last Great American Dynasty, which
Mhm.
makes sense because they're both track threes.
Yep, I can see that too.
Then
Um,
we get "'Tis the Damn Season." Is this a holiday track on an album?
that's so crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love like when she came out with Christmas Tree Farm last year, she was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like I don't know. I could wait and put it out on another album, or like I just put it out. Just there you go, take it.
Yep.
And I like that she was like, well, screw it. I wrote another one. Put it on this album. Who cares? I'm interested to see how it meshes with the rest of the album.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely seems like again, this could be a very upbeat one. Um, this is her first track ever with a curse word in the title,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane
Yeah,
and
that's
indicative of a
crazy.
lot of things. I think also just crazy how many Christmas carols or Christmas songs have a curse word in them. How many Christmas songs have an explicit tag? Like, there's not a lot of them. I love that idea. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be going to my Christian family's Thanksgiving or Christmas day and just be like singing "'Tis the Damn Season," and my mom's gonna be like, "Stop cursing," and I'm gonna be like,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm not. It's a Taylor Swift song." And they're going to have to be okay with it because that's the law.
Okay.
I'm actually really excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's track 4. What comes after track 4, Devin?
Could it be a track 5?
Oh my gosh. I can't believe in June I did a whole presentation on track 5s. And if you would have told me, "Oh, well you have to add 2 more songs to that by the end of the year." I'd
I
be like,
just
"Are
thought
you
of that.
what?" Yeah, we have to do another should have said so where I
Mm-hmm.
break down Tolerate It and see where that falls. But I'm really interested in this one.
Just the
I
title itself.
The last few track 5s weren't crazy for me. I know the last one was insane for you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm interested in this one. But again, I think this is a sign she's getting away from relationships in a track 5,
Mm-hmm.
unless this is about a really sad part of a relationship. Either way, hopefully not. But there's so many implications with the way that the title of this track. So Tolerate It can be taken many different ways. Number one, it could be a command. It could be you saying, "Hey, tolerate it. I don't care. Like, I don't care what you're thinking. I don't care what your thoughts are. Tolerate what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do it." Or it could be the person saying like a reluctant admission, like, you just have to tolerate it. Like
Mm-hmm.
just a
Like a
struggle.
sadness to it.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like a sadness. Like, what am I gonna do? I just have to grit my teeth and bear with it. Like, and I think they're so different. Those
Mm-hmm.
two different like ideas behind it. I'm excited to see if she plays on that. I'm
Wait,
excited to see,
yeah.
I'm excited to see what she does with it. So like I said, this is someone being forced to deal with a situation or a person they aren't happy with. I wonder if Taylor can relate to that.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, one is very forthright and assertive, and the other is very docile and submissive. So like, it's just so interesting. This is probably honestly, I love this part of breaking down these albums. It's so fun to just pick, like, no context whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out these song titles and what they could mean.
Yeah.
If only we had more time.
I know. It is currently, as we are talking, almost 7:30. So we're trying to get this episode out to you as quick as we possibly can.
All right. So with that in mind, do you have anything on Tolerate It?
I mean, it could be the inverse to My Tears Ricochet. It's a, like you said, very similar situation. It could be, well, this is what it is. You got to tolerate it. Is it her telling him to tolerate it? Him telling her to tolerate it? Both? We don't know.
I think it'd be really cool if she does a flip.
Mm,
If she does, like, in the beginning, it's her tolerating it, but then when she left Big Machine Records, now they have to tolerate
yep.
her. I think that'd be a fun way to do that, and make it a twist. And it feels like a very Taylor Swift thing because she's very big in the bridge, changing the meaning of the whole song, as we mentioned in our last episode.
Yes.
I think that could be the way that this goes. Dude, could you imagine if we're right about like a third of the things we're saying right now?
Were we
I
right
will
about anything
never
off
shut up
folklore?
about it. I will never shut up about it. No.
So we don't have a good track record.
I think we're gonna get better. I think we're maybe by TS13 we'll do it.
All right.
All right.
Next track is track
No Body,
6.
No Crime.
Featuring Haim, this is the first time they have ever done a song together.
But they've been in the squad for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Love my girls, my sisters. A
I
sister
have no
album.
idea what they are. I've never listened to them.
A
I
sister
thought
album
they
with the
were
three
models.
sisters.
I just thought they were models.
No, they have great songs, and this is why I think this song is going to be a low key bop. I think that the pacing and like the rhythm of No Body No Crime,
Mm.
I think that's a great hook.
It's very much like it feels like a Reputation era song. Like
Hmm.
it definitely like I can see a sway to it. I can feel a beat, a hook like in the chorus to it. I
Hmm.
think this is going to be a little bit of a departure from the folk.
Yeah.
But I'm also like I have an interesting prediction for this one that I could be wrong. I just started throwing predictions at a wall,
Hmm.
so hopefully I get one right. I think this could be just another "Soon You'll Get Better" or "Breathe," where it is a feature of someone,
Hmm.
but you don't even if you're like me and you're tone deaf, you can't even hear where the feature is. "Soon You'll Get Better," you could literally point to me where the chicks come in and sing on that song. I would
Hmm.
never hear it. Same with I never knew Colby Calais was in "Breathe." And
Mm.
I still am not sure about it.
I think they're gonna have a verse. That's my prediction.
I would love them to. I
Mhm.
would I prefer them to. But just based on like what I've seen before, I would not be surprised if it was that was the case.
Yes.
This
Then
is my favorite one.
we get into a song track 7, Happiness, which is a sign that it could be a positive, upbeat record.
This is me and Devon being the dog and cat, where Devon is the dog about happiness and I'm the cat. I think this could be the saddest song on the album.
Which I would be crushed.
I would be elated. No, I love the idea of this song being about how unattainable happiness is. She had that whole theme in Peace. What if I could
Hmm.
never give you peace? If I could never give you happiness?
Ooh.
Uh, I think it's also interesting. I just thought of this too. Ed Sheeran has a song called Happier, and that song is one of the most gut punching,
Mm-hmm.
horrific, amazing songs I've ever heard. So, I mean, this could just follow in those footsteps. I think she loves a good bait and switch, so I think this could be a very sad song. Um,
I love that.
yeah, right? Isn't that
Hmm.
cool? I'm excited for this one a lot. It's just like also because like I mean, there's no way she's gonna be talking positively about happiness.
Probably not.
Like like there's no way. She's too like mentally messed up, just like all of us. Like happiness is difficult. It's hard to achieve. It's hard to maintain. Like I feel like this song is going to be all about that, and I think that's something we need right now. We need to be told that happiness isn't easy. We need to be
And
told that
it's, yeah.
happiness is work. It's hard, and we need to have that come from the best person in the world.
All right.
So track 8,
Dorothea.
old
Love,
people
I,
names.
I love that old person name, and I think she does too. I think she has like a soft spot for old
It
people.
it sounds like someone who would play in the game Zathura. Like, what is there's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy thing. It's like Magrathea too. Like it's just I
Mm.
keep thinking of like these weird sci-fi things that go with Dorothea. It sounds like a planet. I feel like I don't like the song already. I'm getting a strange inkling based on the title. I don't really like old names. It really depends. It's very hit or miss, but this one is not one that I can really get behind for some reason. I
Both,
can't fathom what it's about either.
yeah, it might be another story thing, but both of these albums have a lot of female names in them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she had Betty in the
Mhm.
last one as like
Betty,
just a title.
August.
August, yeah, actually ended up
Hmm.
being a name. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Um, so I really don't know.
Hmm.
I'm interested to see. I really hope we do have another mixed story. I hope we get a little bit more of the love triangle, and I hope we get a new story too with new characters. Dorothea means God's gift in Greek. That's all I found. We tried to look up and see if there were any famous Dorotheas, but we couldn't really pinpoint anyone that we thought Taylor would have a link to.
Well, let's talk about track 9, Coney Island featuring The National. So Aaron Dessner in this song.
Feature
And
second feature.
mhm.
What was
Well,
the what did Reputation have? How many features did Reputation have? It had Endgame. Is that it? Bad Blood, I guess, eventually
mm,
had a feature, but it wasn't on
yeah,
the main album. This might be the album with the most features she's had
for a bit.
ever. Maybe Red with Gary Lighthouse. Yeah, Red probably is the last one that had the
Mm.
most. Interesting.
Yeah, but so this is the second New York landmark reference after the High Line in last album. Besides,
Pretty
just
good.
in this era, not Welcome
In
to New
this
York,
era, yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw this interesting tweet that says that Coney Island could be a Reputation reject track where some pre look what you made me do tweets surfaced and talk about the alleged track saying potential lyrics right here. Where the darkness never fall, where our love's perfectly drawn, where we wasted and sadly broke, right here, the Coney Island morn. Which sounds
Really?
sad.
Oh yeah.
Sounds depressing. I
It's
love it.
crazy because again, like I think this album is going to be a dichotomy. I think it's going to be a happiness on the surface. It's going to be the hey ya of Taylor Swift. It's going to be wow, it sounds so happy. Like Coney Island is a fun, happy place. And then sadness,
Mm-hmm.
champagne problems, champagne happy, problems sad. Like
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a lot of that style of like a 1-2 punch of happy sad, happy sad.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I mean when I heard Coney Island, I was like that sounds like a fun upbeat song.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
can't
wanted it to
imagine
be
it
a
being
Jack
sad.
Antonoff song,
And I
like
don't
a
think Aaron Dessner
summer,
makes
summer.
bops. I think he makes the
Mm-hmm.
downtrodden. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get into track 10, Ivy.
About Beyonce's daughter, another daughter. No, I don't really know anything about this album or this song. I keep seeing people saying this one they're really excited about on social media.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought is it might be if we do get a continuation of the love triangle, is it we're gonna get the scene of the garden with Betty and James? Because as Taylor Swift said in the Long Pond Studios, they did end up getting back together. So Betty did take him to the garden, like James asked in the song. Ivy grows in a garden,
Yeah.
and I mean I don't.
Yeah, I think Ivy can look beautiful as well, but there can also be poison ivy.
Oh, have you ever seen Morning Glories?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. They're like an ivy that grows up a wall, and they only bloom at 6 a.m. like
Hmm.
or really early in the morning. But when they do, it's gorgeous. And then the other time, they just all look like ivy, and
Hmm.
it's so innocuous. It's so cool. So I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be cool as the garden. Whenever I picture the garden from Betty, I always imagine one of those like cast iron arches with
Mm-hmm.
like ivy growing up it. So I feel like it could be that.
That's a really
I
good
don't.
point.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
I do. Track 11, Cowboy Like Me. Is this her return to country? Is it the Betty harmonica? Is this Casey Musgraves? Is she giving me yeehaw?
Ye, and I can't express this enough. Ha.
Huh.
It is the most country thing ever. Like what is the next song gonna be? Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Like this is the most like Tim McGraw sounding country song. I can hear
Mm-hmm.
the spurs in her boots on
Mm-hmm.
this. Like just reading the title. Um, Again, it could play back into the Gold Rush theme.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys were prevalent back then. If this album is 100 years before Folklore, could be Evermore the prequel.
This
Weirdly,
cannot be from her perspective, though. She's not
oh,
a
100%.
cowboy.
She's not anymore. She gave up that life.
Mm-hmm. But she did take that picture with the horse.
She did take that picture with a horse. She is a horse girl.
Yeah, through and
Um,
through.
this one, I think we both randomly gravitate towards,
Mm-hmm.
but we have no notes on it.
No,
We really like the title. Long story short,
and that's it. That's a long story
that's
short.
it.
We like the song.
We like the song. The one thing I will say to it is it does remind me of the story of us. I used to think one day I'd tell the story of us. Well,
Now,
long
long
story
story
short,
short. Mm-hmm.
here it is. Is another old person name. This is the nursing home of albums for Taylor Swift.
Track 13, Marjorie, which someone quickly pointed out that is her grandmother's name, which is a parallel to Folklore's track 15, Epiphany, which is about her grandfather, which I
Track
think is a
13.
really, yeah,
I
I
thought you
think
said
that's a
15.
really, not 13. I think it's a really cute note as well that, 13, her lucky number, they're both about her grandparents, both about family.
I think that's interesting because, like we said, this album and the last one so so non-autobiographical
Mm-hmm.
that she picks the album that or the number that represents her to be one of the only songs about her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool little nod there.
Yeah.
I have no interest in this song.
I think it's going to be really sweet and cute.
I mean, you love Epiphany, so I'm sure this
Yeah.
is going to be your
Mm-hmm.
favorite. I like this one. I like the next one. Closure is track 14.
But it's not the closing song.
Well, that's the thing that's fun about closure is do you ever really get
Mm.
it? Yeah, no, I love the idea of closure. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Like I'm a very relationship psychology kind of person. So I love the idea of how closure works in a relationship where people like go out of their way to ruin their mood and day because they need closure and stuff like that. And they're willing to keep a link to someone open because they want that closure when the best is just to cut it all off and you'll get that. But I love the concept of closure. I've always been obsessed with it.
Or you
Um,
chase closure and then end
I
up getting back together with your ex.
I've done that like way too many times. Like, oh my gosh. But I think this is a cool idea as the continuation of James and Betty's story. They got closure in the garden. That's what we were told. That's what we can assume. So is this song going to be the bow on the top of the James and Betty story?
Could potentially be, yeah. And then the actual closing track off of the standard edition, the title track, Evermore featuring Bony. This is a title track. We haven't had one since Lover. Folklore did not have a title track.
Yeah.
And this
I'm
is the
excited.
first time we get a repeat guest feature, Bony twice. And this is the first time that we have a guest included in the closing track.
Wow. Lots of firsts.
Mm-hmm. On the
Lots of
last.
firsts on this second. I'm excited. Bon Iver, like Exile is one of those songs that like I feel like I always undervalued, but every time it comes on, it gives me chills and I appreciate it more. And I'm so excited to see more of it. Like I loved that song and I loved
Mm-hmm.
what they did with it. So I mean yeah, throw me more of it. I'll take it.
Exactly. And so this, I mean, it could be about this track or just the album in general. It's because it's called Evermore. During that EW interview, she mentions the year 1830. And so Emily Dickinson, the famous poet, was born on December 10th, 1830. She decides to announce this album today, December 10th. And then Emily closed off one of her poems to her lover Sue with the word forevermore. Like, that's not. And Emily Dickinson did most of her writing in isolation.
Is Emily Dickinson American or English?
I want to say English.
If she is, there's a space between that for and evermore.
Mm.
I did the research.
Is Emily Dickinson?
That's a good point. Yeah, Emily wrote most of her songs or her poems in isolation. I unfortunately
Oh
haven't
no,
read
she was an
much
American
of hers.
poet.
I could see that. Yeah, yeah. But still, forevermore.
Mm-hmm.
It's still Evermore's in there. Did you see the show on Apple Plus or whatever, Apple TV Plus about Emily Dickinson
No.
with Haley Steinfeld?
No.
Okay, cool. Check that out. Cool plug for that show about Emily Dickinson.
Okay.
That's definitely not accurate to Emily Dickinson's real life.
Then
Anyway,
we get two bonus tracks. Yes. So we didn't write anything really about these because we're not going to find anything out about them for a while, just like we did with the lakes. But just let's talk about the track titles. Right Where You Left Me. Where? Who left who where?
Who left who where? I love that.
At the doorstep. And then the final bonus track, It's Time to Go. Where are they going? They going to the lakes? Who knows? It's time to go.
I like that because it does feel like Evermore is the bookend, and then you bought another book, and you need to buy a second bookend. I don't know how bookends work, but it definitely like It's Time to Go sounds like the last song. Sounds like the true blue last song.
You thought the lakes she was leaving, and then she said, "Never mind. Here's another whole album." So
And
we could be saying the same thing. You know, it's time to go. It's time to go back to the drawing board to release another album.
Got to make that trilogy, man.
So,
all right. So lyrics we know.
So Aaron Dessner has been tweeting a storm up today, and he tweeted two different lyrics potentially. We think they're lyrics. He goes, "The road not taken looks real good right now," which I think is comparative to illicit affairs, take the road less traveled by. And we talk about it a lot in past episodes, how it relates to that Robert Frost poem.
She loves that poem, man. Mm-hmm. She keeps referencing it. And I like that she's obsessed with that idea. This is like, again, like the dichotomy part of this thing of like the happiness, sadness. There's two roads.
Place the bet on what lyric or what song it's in.
The road not taken looks
good
now. I'm gonna go with happiness. I'm gonna go with happiness. It sounds like a depressing lyric. You chose wrong, and now you're not happy.
I'm gonna say, I think it is in. I want to say "Cowboy Like Me," kind of.
I was thinking that one too. That was gonna be my
Like
second.
Rhodes.
Yeah,
And
Cowboys have roads.
I mean, who knows? These can both be on Willow, and we could be wrong. And then the second
They will be.
lyric, the second lyric, I'm fine with my spite and my tears and my beers and my candles.
That's got to be Cowboy Like Me.
Yeah,
Beers, just
yeah.
beers. That's the only reason. I mean, that's a really crappy connection there, but that's the only one I can think of.
I'd say either that or Willow.
I can see that too.
And
Candles.
then a potential lyric, which we don't know, but Aaron Dessner put on his Instagram story him FaceTiming Jack Antonoff, and he put a little caption on it and said, "A tiny screen's the only place I see you now," which I don't know if that's a lyric or not.
If it is, I'm gonna guess Closure. I think that's a good one. I think Closure.
I think that's a good one. I can't really see it in.
I'm excited
song,
for
really.
I'm excited for Tuesday when we drop the album, or we drop the episode. We were wrong again the entire time. All right,
we were wrong.
So we got a couple more segments we got to power through for this one. So questions. What are the questions we have about this album?
So will there be another album? Will this be a trilogy? We touched base on it before, but do you think that's a possibility?
I think it is, just because a duology is a very rare thing. Mm-hmm. So, and Taylor Swift is very, I would think she's weird because she's very like trailblazery and she's very traditional at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I can see her wanting to I just can't see her wanting to trailblaze a duology. I think she would want to do a trilogy. I think it's something that she would love to strive for. Like, I can see her going, yeah, no one does trilogies of music. I want to do a trilogy. Like, I can see her wanting to pave that. So
I want this to just be a two-parter.
Also, Fool Me Once, shame on you. So the next question we have is this a continuation of prior storylines, Betty and James? Some of these song titles could reference that very well. Like, again, I mean, granted, Betty and James is a relationship. Most songs that she writes can be about a relationship, but I'm interested to see. The only difference is the time period. Is this a different? That's the last question we have. Is it a different time period? Lots of 1800 references. Is the next time going to be the Renaissance? Like, what's going on?
Even just the images that she's put out, like the screen cap for Willow, where she's in that like ball gown type nightgown dress.
Yeah,
potentially.
And the braids that she has, I don't know what that braid is though. I don't understand women's hair.
That's a fishtail.
Braiding is a new world. It's insane.
It's a fishtail braid, but okay.
All right, so predictions. Let's get it. What do we think, based on nothing? This is my favorite part of the thing, is what do we think our favorite songs are going to be? Devon nailed it with August. Devon killed it with August. I don't think I did nearly as well as you.
All right.
In our folklore ones. So Devon, what do you think your favorite songs are going to be?
We have a couple.
We both like shotgun this. We picked like half of them.
I think there's going to be. We picked a lot of similar ones. We both picked Willow.
Yep.
We both picked 'Tis the Damn Season, and that's it. So I picked Cowboy Like Me. I really think it's going to be a country thing going on. I picked Coney Island just because I think that's going to be. I love Coney Island, so I'm placing my money on it. Evermore, the title track, I think is going to be really good, especially because Bony Bear's in it, and he has not disappointed me yet. I think Marjorie is going to be a very sweet song. I think Gold Rush is going to be an underrated bop. And those are my predictions. What about you? I
have Willow and 'Tis the Damn Season. I have the track 5, Tolerate It. I think you got the last track 5, so it only makes sense that I get this one. But I like the literary aspect of it, and if I'm right, I know I'm going to love it even more. Long story short, the title just reminds me of Speak Now, and I think that's something that, obviously I'm a huge Speak Now head, so if this song's anything like that, Closure being the same thing, it's a very sad relationship sounding song. I know I like that kind of stuff. And I have, if it's sad, Happiness.
Only if it's sad, though.
Only if it's sad.
Then we go into our least favorite. So we both put Dorothea. I'm kind of changing my mind, though. I think it might be sweet, but that's the one I'm kind of iffy about. Who knows? And then I like how we both put Happiness.
I put Happiness if happy. If Happiness is an upbeat song, it'll be one of my least favorites. I put Dorothea. Yeah, it's just weird. Dorothea, Marjorie. I don't know. Like, I hate talking negatively about Taylor. Like, it's so weird to like say this is gonna be my least favorite. But I mean, I'm gonna love all of these. I'm gonna love them all.
Yeah.
But I just think I'm gonna gravitate towards the ones that I pushed up at the top. Gold Rush. I don't know. I something about it. I don't think I really like it. I feel like if it is Last Great American Dynasty, I'm gonna go back on it. Champagne Problems.
I think I
Again, I
also
don't.
agree with you on that, on Champagne Problems.
Actually, before we go to what we're curious about, what do you think is your number one? Pick your number one. Pick your August, and I'll pick my piece. My number one, if it is sad, is going to be Happiness, 100%. If it's not sad, I'm gonna go with Long Story Short. Those two I'm choosing as my de facto favorites. I think we can discount Willow because it's the single, and
Yeah.
obviously Cardigan was amazing, so I'm
Hmm.
assuming that one's going to be up there regardless.
I kind of want to say Gold Rush.
Interesting. I
I think
like
my
that.
top three, I think they're going to be, I don't know where Cowboy Like Me stands, but I think Gold Rush, Coney Island, and Marjorie.
I think Cowboy Like
Gravitating
Me is going to
towards.
be our Betty of this one. I think it's going to start off really high and then it's going to end towards the bottom middle.
Yeah.
So what are we curious about? What are the songs that we're really interested in learning more about, but don't really want to pick
Hmm.
favorites?
I think Long Story Short is going to be an interesting one for me. And then No Body, No Crime. I'm very interested to see how this feature goes.
Very 1989 Reputation sounding song. So I think you nailed that one.
Hmm.
Me for is Ivy because I just don't know what that song could be about. It's just an enigma.
Hmm.
Evermore, I'm sure I'm gonna end up loving this song like Exile. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna undervalue it, but it's gonna be a lot higher than I ever put it or give it the credit for. It's time to go. I'm just interested. Lakes was a really awesome breakout song that I didn't expect anything out of, and I'm excited to see what that one is. And Cowboy Like Me is the same thing. If it's like Kelsey Ballerini or something like that, or it goes back into old Taylor, I'm here for it.
Hmm.
All right. All right, so two last things before we wrap up. We're getting close.
So close to the end.
One thing I will say, I have a gambling addiction,
Yes.
just a little bit, just a tiny bit. It's totally under control.
How appropriate.
I have not gambled in a while, but I did get into sports betting this year, and I kind of want to bring that over to here in this fun little ending game for this. So, Devin, how do you feel about wagering? Would you like to wager an iced coffee against me?
Ooh, I do like a good iced coffee.
Just a tiny little wager, nothing huge.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna bet you a coffee. So we're gonna do an over under bet. So for those of you that are not familiar with sports betting, which I imagine is a lot of you,
Hmm.
neither was I before
Including
this,
me.
including Devin. So basically, the way an over under works is you get a thing, and then you get a number that is determined by the casino. I'm the casino this time, and that casino determines if you think that event is going to happen more or less times than that number that was given. So we're going to bet on the number of curse words in the album. This is going to include if it's in a chorus and repeated in the chorus like Betty. So the total number of times we hear a curse word. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 7, 6 and a bonus track curse words that we're going to choose here. And I put in the lines. I have some data on the other ones. I could be wrong, though. I did not do a lot of research on the data over there.
Hmm.
So we're going to start with hells. How many times do we think Taylor Swift is going to say hell on this album? I'm just going to go off of folklore. On folklore, she said it twice.
Hmm.
So the line that we have for this one is 4. So do you think she's going to say hell more than 4 times or less than 4 times?
I'm going on the over for this one.
Okay, I'm taking the under. So that's perfect. That works out really well.
Hmm.
The next one we have is dams. Because dam is in the title of a song, I've put the line a lot higher. So I have it at 6.5. The reason, this is a weird one, I'm going to explain this for betting. The reason we do a 0.5 there is so that way, if you think it's 6, but you don't want it to go above 6, you don't
Hmm.
want to pick under. It just gives it, if it's over, it's 7. If it's under, it's 6, basically.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to do it. We
Hmm.
both went over.
Yes.
We both chose over. All right, for that one's a wash.
Hmm.
So this is an interesting one. A words. And I'm going to start bleeping myself here because we do want to keep this clean tag for this one.
Hmm.
A words. ASS. Taylor Swift has never said this word in
Hmm.
a song before. So I have the line at 0.5, either 0 mentions of it or 1 or more. I took the over.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I honestly don't think it's going to happen, but I wanted to go against you, and I think No Body, No Crime is a good way for her to get that. I will say, we're going to say the song itself, so she doesn't have to sing it. So if Haim sings it, it still counts.
Okay.
It's going to be in the lyrics of the song. The B word, she said it once on Folklore, and I couldn't find anywhere else. The line for this one is 1.5. I feel like Taylor is not a huge fan of this word. As I'm learned, most women are not a huge fan of this word. So I can't imagine she uses it often. I still take the over on it.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay. All right. We're getting closer. So S words. Taylor has said this 3 times. This is the one she's actually most frequently said in both interviews now and songs. So I have the line at 4. So I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the under again.
I think she's really gonna let loose with it. And then finally, or I guess the penultimate, we have the F word. So we had 3 F words, first time ever. She had an interview the other day where she said, someone asked her, how does it feel to say the F word in a song? And she said, it felt effing awesome. So the reason we're doing this too is because she has just been on a cursing rampage. She has been making it very clear in every form of social media interview media that she's in that she is a cursor now. She is not this like nice innocent woman. She is a normal human being that uses curse words. So F words, over under of 4. That's 1 more than on Folklore.
And I think she's going to go over it. I think she's ballsy now.
I'm really excited about it. I think she's really ballsy, and she's dipped her toe in on Folklore, and I think she's going to dive a little. I don't know if she's going to dive all the way in, but I think she's going to dive a little bit deeper.
That's why I'm taking the under. Yeah.
You're taking the under of F words?
Well, no. Just in general, I feel like I'm taking more unders because I think she's dipping more into it, but I think she's still going to be a little bit more reserved.
I also wanted to make sure that we had enough differing opinions that someone can actually win an iced coffee.
Yes.
And we don't just tie. The bonus track that we have for this one, this is an interesting one. I just had to throw it in there. MF. Mofo. Do we think she is going to use this term in this album? I have the line at 0.5. She's never said it. I think you're correct too, but I'm very hopeful, so I'm going for over. I'm not going to count that one towards the bet, but I think that's a fun one to add in there as well because I think that's an extra step. So that's our bets. I'm really excited about that one. I think that's a fun little game to play, and I'm excited to when it comes up again and we do our live reaction to just see the explicit tags.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. All right, so we're closing out now. We have 4 hours for the show to come out as us closing this. We're hoping to get this up by 9 so you guys can listen to it before midnight. If you're listening, please subscribe on whatever platform you have. Tell a friend about us. Share us. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Music. It really helps us out.
Yes, it does. And follow us on social media. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. DM us. Let us know what you think.
If you have an idea for an episode, please drop us a link. Actually,
doesn't matter now.
We have so many episodes now. We have no time to do anything. If you have something about Evermore that you want us to talk about, let us know. If you hear something cool, let us know.
Thank you. We will be going live at midnight on our social media, live reacting to it, and then we will be releasing an episode on Tuesday with our reactions. So, like we say every episode, but stressing it now, come back.
Come back. We'll be here.